It's been a minute since I've done a video. Kind of saw a video from WJ. Shout out to WJ. Gets a lot of haters. Says a lot of controversial stuff, but he is still one of my favorite reviewers on here. So shout out to WJ. Um, this is going to be a response and just in general my own video to how I feel about the above subject, which is WrestleMania 29. To me, it strikes me as a throwaway pay-per-view um, for WrestleMania 30. That's my honest belief. Like everybody else, I'm very frustrated with the general build of WrestleMania 29. I'm nowhere near excited like I was for WrestleMania 28, where I was genuinely excited to see matches. You know, say what you want about John Cena and Rock now, but the build that they had, the year-long build that they had to WrestleMania 28, made me really excited and intrigued to see that match. For a long time, I've not been that excited for a John Cena match, and I know that has a lot to do with the fact that Rock is my favorite. Um, is my favorite. He's my favorite wrestler. You know, forget this watered down shit that you see now of The Rock. I choose to ignore that. I gotta be honest. I tend to pay more attention to the Rock that we all know, the Attitude Era Rock. Um, and I was really intrigued and excited, and the general build and gist. Um, you can make an argument for saying that that's because it was the first time ever that you've seen it. It was a dream match for a lot of people. Um, Not necessarily mine because I don't care about John Cena that way, but I can understand it. So a dream match for a lot of people. So you can see why people are excited for that. But even with Undertaker Triple H, you know that had been something that you'd seen the WrestleMania before that, WrestleMania 27. But why it was still intriguing for WrestleMania 28 was because they added a stipulation that most people, I think, if they're honest with themselves, always wanted to see. They'd always considered Undertaker and Triple H to be the king of Hell in a Cell matches. So to have the two kings of the Hell in a Cell matches go together, it, you were able to suspend disbelief, even if it was just for a little hot second, that maybe this could be the year that Undertaker's streak would come to an end. Um, and I think the reason why it was so good, and this is probably my general point for this video which you see, is that I feel like WrestleMania 27 was a throwaway pay-per-view for WrestleMania 28. If you really think about it, a lot of the feuds, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the types of matches that you got, especially in the main event matches, started from WrestleMania 27. Especially when you look at the two double main events, if you like. They started at WrestleMania 27. It was a throwaway match, you know. Most people forget that Miz main evented, or well, I say most people forget. If you don't listen to Michael Cole, most people would forget that Miz main evented WrestleMania 27. But he didn't really. He was kind of a side piece, a pawn to a year-long build for Rock Cena for WrestleMania 28. And it's a shame for Miz, but on the other hand, it made you, I understood it, because it was like the next night on Raw, it's almost as though they said, we know WrestleMania 27 wasn't that good. It's because we're doing this at WrestleMania 28. And everyone was like, oh, okay, and everybody gave them a pass for that. And the reason I'm even saying all this is because I've heard a lot of rumors that they're planning for WrestleMania 30 already. It being 30, you know, they really want to do something particularly spectacular for WrestleMania 30. I'm hearing a lot of stories how how they plan to do Rock versus Brock at WrestleMania 30, how they plan to do Undertaker Cena at WrestleMania 30, how they plan to do CM Punk Stone Cold at WrestleMania 30. Um, so you can see that they're trying to kind of they're not paying too much attention to this year, which is a shame. It's a shame for people like us because for me, I ordered WrestleMania 28 the legit way, didn't stream it or anything. I paid shit to see WrestleMania 28 because I was genuinely excited. This year, I'm not paying for that. I don't even know if I'm going to bother streaming it, to be honest. I don't care as much. And it's a shame. It's such a shame because I really, part of me really wanted to see something, just to see a spectacle. But I don't care as much, and it's a shame. I just don't. There's no other way or explanation for it. I don't care as much. Um, so for me, I just feel like I just wanted to do a video of why I feel the storylines are just dead this year. Like they're just dead. Like Undertaker's another one of my favorite all-time guys, and I quite like CM Punk. I'm not internet crazy, he's my number one guy, but I do like CM Punk. Um, I I just feel like him and Undertaker should be more intriguing than it is at the moment. It's kind of like Double J said in another one of his videos. Funny enough, um, I just feel like they could have done that whole storyline a lot better than they're doing. I mean, like so far, the only thing that Undertaker really has to be angry about is that he's carrying his urn. And you ain't telling me that this is Paul Bearer's ashes. They need to stop doing that part of the storyline. Never mind the fact that it's distasteful. It's just like, oh yes, really. They're really gonna have Paul Bearer's actual ashes in an urn, which you have now stolen. Oh come on. It's ridiculous. Like, just go with the normal feud. Talk shit. Do other things. Like, you can have a disrespect Paul Bearer's memory. Fine. It's a bit borderline, but fine. But don't, I mean, it's, it is like a bully taking a hat and saying, aha, I've got your hat. It's just like, what the fuck, you're grown men, right? Do other stuff. Push the boundaries. And this is why I think this is one of the biggest problems I think CM Punk has while he's in the WWE. Clearly, they put a restraint on the things that he can do, and I think sometimes they need to just let him go and just do what he needs to do, because that's where people are going to be more intrigued. People will tune in. I still expect the match to be very good, because Undertaker, I don't care what anyone says, is the best big guy wrestler I've ever seen, in my opinion. And CM Punk, whilst I don't think he's necessarily the best in the world, is a very astute technical wrestler. So I expect the match to be very good. I just think the storyline, I'm not bought into it yet. And then you look at Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger. I'm not a Jack Swagger guy. I don't like him. I've never really bought into him. I can get more into his character. I think it's a very good character change. Maybe it's because it's Del Rio is the face. I'm not quite sold into it. Like, that storyline probably would work better with someone like a Rey Mysterio, because Rey Mysterio has more people that believe in him. He's more over as a face than Del Rio. So things like Monday happen where people are chanting USA, USA in his matches, but I don't think they're necessarily chanting it in support of him. They're chanting it in spite of him, which is not what you want people to do with your face. So it's things like that that kind of just confuse me, and that's how it's, for me, it's built really terribly because you must be doing something wrong if people are not reacting the way they should be to Alberto as a face. I think getting them to take Rodrigo out is probably a decent move. It might get more heat on Swagger. Um, it may get more face reaction out of Del Rio because people want to support him more. So from that point of view, I think that was one of the few things they did well out of this past episode of Raw. But I don't know, time will tell. But I'm not excited to see it. That's not a reason for me to order WrestleMania, and it should be. That storyline should be intriguing, considering the characters. It should be intriguing, and it just isn't. John Cena, Rock. People will have their opinion about the fact that Rock isn't there. If you thought Rock would be there because he's WWE champion and cancel all his movie tours, you must be fucking smoking crack. That was never gonna happen. Alright? The guy is currently in England doing his world tour for G.I. Joe. It was never gonna happen. So you might as well I don't know why people are surprised. But yeah, it's suffering because of that. But I think even if Rock was there, there doesn't seem to be the same animosity, the same kind of, like you could tell they're just, well, you couldn't tell because us smart marks know a bit better. But maybe as a casual fan, if you were a casual fan, you could buy into the fact that, oh, these people, they may respect each other, but they kind of dislike each other. And you don't necessarily get that same feeling out of it. And it's like, Rock is my guy. But he alone is not going to make me order this pay-per-view. And he isn't. And I won't. So if I'm a Rock guy and I won't order this pay-per-view, you're doing something wrong in your build. And then Triple H Brock, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the card. I'll talk through what I consider to be the main events. Again, I mean, I wasn't really that intrigued the first time they had their match. I quite like Brock Lesnar. I'm not really a Triple H guy. Never really have been. And I refuse to call him God or anything like the such. I understand why certain wrestling shows like OTRS call him God and stuff like that. I refuse to even call him that as a take the piss title. I don't do it. I've never been a Triple H guy. So I was never really that intrigued about the first match, although I heard it was a good match. I never watched SummerSlam, so I don't know, but I heard it was a good match. I just don't really, and that's the other thing about WrestleMania, I think that's disappointing, is that the same thing with the Brock Lesnar Triple H match. What's the point? We all know who's going to win that match. Just like we all know John Cena, there is no, I will eat my hat if Rock beats him again. Mind you, that's the one thing that they could probably do that would be so intriguing, and that could potentially set up a John Cena Undertaker match, because you may want to flip. If you were going to flip John Cena heel, this would be the match to do it. Because there was a certain WrestleMania 17 where Austin went in there as a face, could have beat Rock, beat the shit out of him with a chair, and then pinned him for the title. Now, if they were going to do it that way, this would be the time to do it. Just could have beat him, but he was so desperate for that title, that he resorted to turning heel. This would be the time to do it. Right now, this would be the time to do it. They're not going to. So I don't care. So I know John Cena is going to get his win back and be the same old stupid, the champ is here character. Just the same way I know that Triple H will beat Brock. Like, that would ever fucking happen in real life. Like, what would be intriguing to me is if Brock beat Triple H again. That shit would make me tune into Raw the next night. But they won't do that. Like, it's just, I mean, I don't want Undertaker Street to come to an end anyway. That's because I'm an Undertaker guy. But there's no matches that I can say are 50-50. There are matches that you can't call. And that's the main thing that is missing from this year's WrestleMania. The shit build, the predictability. It's just what is happening to Mania. Is it really worth it Is WrestleMania really worth it that you want to sacrifice your build for this year on next year's WrestleMania? I know you did that for WrestleMania 27 and it kind of worked, but even for WrestleMania 27, you did better than this, WWE. You have 2 weeks left. What are you going to do now? Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. It's kind of a Rant Chronicles Supreme WrestleMania episode, if you like. Subscribe, like this video, hate this video, comment, say whatever you like. I just had to get it off my chest. Alright, take care.